After years of silence, Dr. Juanita Bynum has finally spoken up, and what she just revealed about Bishop T.D. Jakes stepping down is sending shockwaves throughout the church world. This isn't just a retirement announcement. This is personal. And the truth Juanita just dropped? It's been simmering beneath the surface for over 2 decades. When one of the most influential spiritual leaders of our time, Bishop T.D. Jakes, made headlines by announcing his decision to step away from active pastoral leadership, the Christian community responded with a mix of surprise, sadness, and speculation. But what caught even more attention, what truly turned heads, was the unexpected voice that rose from the shadows: Juanita Bynum. Juanita isn't just a familiar name. She's a spiritual icon in her own right, a trailblazer whose rise to prominence happened under Jakes' spotlight. Many remember her unforgettable "No More Sheets" a sermon at Jakes' "A Woman, Thou Art Loosed" conference, a moment that changed her life and ministry forever. But behind that stage moment was a deep, complex relationship. One filled with collaboration, tension, and unspoken truths. Now, years later, Bynum is done being silent. And what she's sharing might just change how we view not only Bishop Jakes' ministry but the entire culture of celebrity-driven spirituality. Let's rewind. For decades, Bishop T.D. Jakes has been a towering figure in faith. His messages transcended race and denomination. His books filled shelves, his television appearances became cultural events, and his Potter's House Church in Dallas grew into a spiritual empire. But with that empire came scrutiny. And according to Juanita, it also came with compromise. In her recent explosive interview, Juanita didn't hold back. She spoke of exhaustion, of image, of leaders turning ministries into brands and churches into businesses. And while she didn't outright condemn Jakes, her message was pointed: when your platform becomes bigger than your prayer life, something's got to give. Juanita reflected on their early days, how Bishop Jakes gave her a national platform, how they inspired millions together, but also how their paths diverged over time. According to Juanita, the disconnect wasn't personal. It was spiritual. There came a point, she said, when I realized we weren't serving the same God in the same way anymore. She wasn't talking about theology, but about motives, intentions. While Jakes embraced Hollywood, politics, and billion-dollar conferences, Juanita says she began to retreat, sensing a dangerous drift from authentic ministry. And then, the bombshell. Juanita revealed that she had known, for years, that Bishop Jakes would one day step down not out of peace, but out of necessity. People think this was a graceful exit. It wasn't, she said. It was survival. She continued, you can't keep feeding the world when you're starving yourself. That platform will eat you alive if you're not grounded. In her emotional reflection, Juanita described countless conversations with other ministers, leaders who felt isolated, overworked, and spiritually bankrupt. She hinted that Jakes wasn't alone in his struggle, and that many in the megachurch world suffer in silence, putting on a show for the world while losing their soul in private. One of the most chilling moments came when she said, "We have too many celebrities and not enough servants. The pulpit has become a stage, not a sacred place." Was this a direct shot at Bishop Jakes? Maybe. Or maybe it was a call to every leader who's fallen into the trap of performance-based ministry. Juanita's truth bomb didn't stop there. She boldly claimed that the current church culture, not just Bishop Jakes, was to blame for what's happening. The expectation for pastors to be entertainers, influencers, counselors, CEOs, and miracle workers all in one is, in her words, inhuman. Bishop Jakes was a victim of a system that demands everything and gives little back, she said. She pointed to his expansion into movies, real estate, publishing, and politics as signs that the ministry had outgrown its original calling. When the world pulls you in too many directions, you lose your center. And your center is Christ. But perhaps the most stunning part of her message was her own confession, that she, too, had nearly lost herself in that same system. She admitted that during her rise to fame, she became consumed with image, designer outfits, jet-set travel, high-profile appearances, all under the banner of ministry. "I had to go through my own breaking," she confessed. "I had to disappear so I could rediscover my calling." It's no secret that Juanita Bynum experienced public trials, failed marriages, financial issues, and harsh criticism. But through it all, she says she found something she fears Bishop Jakes and others may have missed: spiritual rest. "I don't want to preach with a broken soul anymore," she said. "I want to be healed while I help others heal." Now, let's pause here. Why is this moment so monumental? Because it's rare, extremely rare, for leaders of Juanita Bynum's caliber to publicly challenge the very foundation that helped build their careers. But Juanita is doing just that. Not to destroy Bishop Jakes, but to awaken a church culture that's become obsessed with production over presence, wealth over wisdom, and fame over faith. As she closed the interview, Juanita offered a sobering warning: if the church doesn't change course, more leaders will fall. Not because they sinned, but because they're spiritually suffocating. She continued, "It's not just about stepping down. It's about stepping back into purpose. And that's something money, fame, or platforms can't buy." So, where does this leave us? Bishop Jakes remains a towering figure, even in semi-retirement. His impact on the global church is undeniable. But Juanita Bynum's voice reminds us that no one is above accountability, and no ministry is immune from burnout. Her story, and her truth, isn't just about T.D. Jakes. It's about all of us. It's about recentering our faith. It's about asking ourselves the hard questions: who are we serving? Why are we doing this? And are we still listening to God, or just to the applause of the crowd? As we close today's video, remember this: greatness in ministry isn't measured by your followers, your building size, or your TV ratings. It's measured by your willingness to remain humble, honest, and wholly surrendered to the call. Juanita Bynum's message is a wake-up call. Not just for Bishop Jakes, but for every spiritual leader, and every believer, walking the thin line between influence and intimacy with God. So what do you think? Was Bishop Jakes' resignation really just about rest, or was it the result of a deeper, more troubling reality? Did Juanita go too far, or did she finally say what many have been afraid to speak? Let's talk about it in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. Because this story? It's only just beginning.